Welcome to our first post-credit scene as part of our Living It Out series. These are opportunities for us to just talk through a few things that we didn't get to in class. We ran out of time in our last class as we were talking about the role of the citizen. And so we just wanted to talk about a few additional thoughts and make sure that we had covered everything that we had thought through. These are really some principles of maybe some caution from other scripture points as we're talking about the idea of the citizen and the role that we play here. A couple of things to be careful of, and it doesn't mean necessarily that Christians should not follow a career in politics or pursue that type of path, but there are some things that we really ought to be careful of. First of all, the Bible does not press for our energy to be spent in the political or temporal realm. 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 3 says, "For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh." And the point there is being that while we're here on earth, it's not necessarily our main focal point to bring about the changes here on earth. We know that this world is not our home. Another thing that is kind of important for us is understanding that strong political stances can actually hinder the sharing of the gospel. 1 Corinthians chapter 9, Paul talks about this when he's talking to the Corinthian believers. And he says in verse 19, "For though I be free from all men, yet have I made myself servant unto all, that I might gain the more." And then in verse 22, he continues on saying, "I am made all things to all men, that I might by all means save some." And he gives us the reason for that in verse 23 when he says this is for the sake of the gospel. And so we have to remember that our clear mission is the sharing of the gospel, not the instigating of a Christian nation per se in the United States. We certainly would enjoy that, but that's not our mission. Our mission is the gospel of Jesus Christ. There's also a reminder that even though there is political opportunity in the United States, it doesn't mean that we have a firm responsibility when it comes to the heavy political involvement specifically. Our focus really, as reminded by Jesus in his Sermon on the Mount from Matthew chapter 5, he reminds us that our focus is to be salt and light. And so maybe there is an opportunity for us to be salt and light in the political world, following a political career, but that is just an ends to a means to an end, not necessarily a goal in and of itself. The focus ought to be salt and light. And then one of the other things that we have to keep in mind is that winning political battles means you have to be in the majority. And as Jesus reminded us in Matthew chapter 7, it's going to be pretty hard for us to be in the majority. We should not expect to be in the majority. It is a wide gate that leads to destruction and a narrow gate that leads to life everlasting. So the conclusion is that while we're not completely detached from the political world, and we shouldn't be, our focus must be on the spiritual and eternal principles, including the spread of the gospel of Jesus Christ and pointing others to him.